live, local, now.
The system has failed him, and that's how he feels. That's how he feels that since the system fails him, so he's going to come out with that mentality.
First here at 6, face-to-face again. The man in this now viral video appears before the same judge. His family says he's mentally ill, and the thought of going back to prison is what set him off.
Today, Deobra Redden back in court, this time with a spit mask, gloves, flanked by officers. Thank you for joining us at 6 o'clock. I'm Brian Loftus.
I'm Denise Valdez. Redden now faces a new charge of attempted murder. We have team coverage. 8 News Now reporter James Schaefer with what Redden's family says about his mental health struggles.
First up, 8 News Now investigator David Charnes joins us with what happened when Redden returned to the judge's courtroom. David.
Right, Denise, these new documents we obtained this afternoon allege Deobra Redden attempted to kill Judge Mary Kay Holthus by jumping over her bench in a, quote, Superman style, then grabbing her, pulling her hair, and putting his hands on her throat. But today wasn't about any of that, and it only took a few minutes for the judge to send Redden to prison in his original case.
2 officers escort 30-year-old Deobra Redden back into Clark County District Court Judge Mary Kay Holthus' courtroom 5 days after he attacked her. Holthus was sentencing Redden on an attempted battery charge when he jumped a table and leaped over her bench, stopping the hearing. The attack leaving a trail of blood, as seen in these photos the 8 News Now investigators obtained, forcing a hazmat crew to come in and clean up.
Indicating the sentence I intended to impose.
Monday was a continuance of that hearing. Holthus saying her sentence, the 19 to 48 months prosecutors asked for, did not change since last week.
I want to make it clear that I am not changing or modifying the sentence I was in the process of imposing last week before I was interrupted by defendant's actions.
Those actions leading officers to cover Redden's face Monday with a spit guard, his hands covered in gloves. The marshal injured in the attack, who received 25 stitches to his forehead, was not on the job, but appeared looking on from behind the judge's bench.
His reactions were not premeditated.
After Holthus sentenced her brother, Redden's sister, LaDonna Daniels, stressed her brother's history of mental illness, saying he's diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, and that he hasn't had treatment since he left prison in November.
It was triggered because he seemed to have been pleading for his freedom. He has been off his psych meds since he got out of jail, but because he doesn't have an appointment until March.
No, Redden will start that new prison sentence immediately, and he'll be back in court tomorrow on those new charges stemming from this attack. And again, a completely different case, Brian.
And as you heard there, the family of Deobra Redden speaking to 8 News Now after the sentencing, and they say he has struggled with mental health now for decades.
Now, even as a 3-time felon, they say that Redden had just accepted a job, he signed for an apartment, and was expecting leniency.
8 News Now reporter James Schaefer here with reaction from Redden's family.
Yeah, first and foremost, the family is saying they do not condone what Redden did. They are saying, however, that his mental state was not taken into consideration before the sentencing was handed down. Redden's mother painting a picture of her son, who was getting his life together before hearing he was going back to prison.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else.
I think when the judge says, you know, it's time for you to get a taste of, became a trigger, and in his mind...
Redden's sister LaDonna Daniels saying that what we saw in the courtroom Wednesday was a fight or flight response.
He tried to speak for himself, which I just think he shouldn't have never been allowed to take the stand or speak on his own behalf because of his condition.
Redden's family says he was born with crack cocaine in his system, that he is schizophrenic and bipolar, pointing to those as a contributing factor to Deobra's reaction, on top of the concern that he wasn't taking his medication.
I mean, when we struggle from mental illness, it's a chemical imbalance, just as most addicts have chemical imbalances out there. Who wants to stop using, who can't.
Redden's mother, Karen Springer, says that in the end, she was heartbroken to see her son charging at the judge.
Oh my God, I went to a state of shock. You know what I mean? So It was heartbreaking, really, to see him. And like I said, at the end of the day, it's about his mental state. He just got an apartment, did everything right, was in contact with parole and probation. He was released to them in their custody. So now you saying you finna send him back? What sense? In his mind, he didn't think he was going back.
Yeah, Redden's mother also told me she did speak to him multiple times over the phone since Wednesday's incident. She says he is back on his meds and appeared over the phone at least to sound a lot calmer than he did prior to the attack. Reporting from the newsroom, James Schaefer, 8 News Now.
Now, as for that sentence that Redden received, while he was not expecting the harshest penalty, his family tells us they were not expecting him to go to prison either.